this is one of those fights that's further down the rankings, but on March the 21st, 2015 on Fox Sports 1, you had Alfonso Gomez, 34 years old, 25, 6-2 with 12 KOs. Take on former Star the Contender, take on Yoshiro Kamegai, who was 25, 3-1 with 22 KOs. I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy with RealCombatMedia.com, and I cover every single major fight live. Now, before I go on, let me tell you that Mauricio Herrera was there. Remember, he lost his last fight, robbery, basically, against Jose Benavidez, and then we know in 2014 he should have been basically Fighter of the Year. Unofficially, he was Fighter of the Year, but when you look at Yoshiro Kamegai, for example, his last two fights, well, his last three, he came on the scene basically against a fighter by the name of Johan Perez. You know Johan Perez because guess what? He fought Mauricio Herrera on the undercard of Canelo versus Lara. We're going to get to all that, but plus I'm running out of time. My memory's filling up. You got Yoshiro Kamegai, right? Who in his last three fights, Robert Guerrero, Oscar Godoy, and I forgot what that was the undercard of. I believe that was on a December card with Amir Khan versus Devin Alexander. But anyway, he fought at 150 pounds, to where this fight he weighed in at 149 pounds. So he can fight at 147, and you see if he fights at 154, he's a smaller 154-pound guy. And what he's looking like, in my opinion, is somewhat of a gatekeeper-ish type status now that he lost his Fox Sports 1 card. But that's not a bad thing in a way because he's a good fighter, and he's one of those type of fighters that he's going to get a big significant win sometime in the future. He just seems like one of those fighters. Is just certain things he has to work on with technique. Can't really tell him to get a new trainer because maybe the language barrier, I don't know. But basically, he's just a fighter who's right there in front of you, almost like Ruslan Provodnikov as far as he can't cut off the ring. He'll follow you around the ring, and then once he get there, yeah, he'll bang with you. But in other words, he'll allow himself to take unnecessary damage, getting there inside to you, which we saw with Robert Guerrero. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, this fight made Robert Guerrero look worse. Not really, because styles make fights. And also, we don't know if Yoshiro Kamegai prepared for the fight of his life, fighting a guy by Robert Guerrero, who was a former Floyd Mayweather opponent, compared to fighting a guy like Alfonso Gomez. Now, Alfonso Gomez, you may know him, one of the former stars of the Contender. Big fights with, did he fight Miguel Cotto? I know he fought Saul Canelo Alvarez, Sean Porter back in 2012. And basically what he's been is one of those tough, rugged fighters that if you're fighting for up-and-coming young fighters, he gets you to the next level for some reason. Now, even though we don't know if they both have a working relationship, but basically someone like Errol Spence, he would be fighting a guy like Alfonso Gomez next. You get what I'm saying? Or a guy like Yoshiro Kamegai next, even though Alfonso Gomez and Yoshiro Kamegai are golden boy fighters, and we know Heyman's doing his own thing. But basically, I'm trying to give you an understanding of the type of fighter that Alfonso Gomez is. Now, he hasn't fought, well, actually, this is his second fight since he fought Sean Porter back in 2012. So that was like something like, what is that, like 3 years, 3+ years or something like that, closer to 3 years. But now you see that with Mauricio Herrera at ringside, I'm thinking that, okay, Mauricio Herrera started his career, at 147, a little bit above that, if I'm correct. And maybe since he hasn't had too much luck at 140 pounds, since he was sitting there right there with co-promoter of Goldberg Promotions, Bernard Hopkins, right there at ringside, I'm thinking like, oh, well, him fighting Alfonso Gomez at 147 pounds next, maybe on some undercard of an HBO card, or, maybe a main event of a Fox Sports, it seems highly likely. I mean, think about Herrera versus Kamegai if Kamegai was to win. Excitement-wise, that would be a very good fight. Now, as far as what both fighters have to offer, they both throw a lot of punches. Kamegai, in my opinion, a harder puncher than Herrera, but it would be an exciting fight. So that's why I'm thinking to myself, Mauricio Herrera right there at ringside next to Bernard Hopkins, next to the co-promoter of the event. Maybe looking at Alfonso Gomez as far as, fully moving up to 147 pounds and seeing what's going on in that division. And maybe, who knows? Maybe a future fight with Lucas Matisse or Ruslan Provodnikov rematch may be out there. But I am T Street Controversy. It was a unanimous decision. Basically, Kamegai just didn't do enough. He just kept stalking him, coming forward, but there was no technique with it. For example, he wasn't working his way in with the jab. Things like that. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. RealCombatMedia.com. Please subscribe.